Welcome to Mentor Training 3, your virtual training makeup session. My name is Andrea Palmer, Elementary Peer Consultant with USD 259. Today for this session, you will need your Mentor Handbook and also the materials that were sent to you through Interschool Mail by Michelle Conine. Okay, let's begin. First, let's start with our content objectives. Please take a moment to read through these, as this is what we will be learning today. Our agenda for this virtual training is we will start out with our opening and overview, which we are doing right now, and then we will go into some learning sessions. The first session will be observations and feedback, and then we will go to mentoring language. At the end, we will have a time where we will wrap things up and go over our survey. Let's get started by looking at this introduction letter. This was emailed to you by Amy Snodgrass, and it's also in the front of your Mentor Handbook. If you haven't had a chance to read it, you will want to find time soon to look over it. Looking at the purpose of our mentoring program letter, which is in the front of your Mentor Handbook, this letter describes how important it is for you to be a mentor to your beginning teacher. Not only is it important for them to have somebody to trust in their building that they can talk to, but it's also important for their relicensure. Remember, you need to have communication with your beginning teacher on a weekly basis. It's great if it could be face-to-face, but email is acceptable. Please make sure that you are observing your beginning teacher. You need to have 3 observations completed by the end of the year. We suggest by now in February, you already have 2 observations completed. We also want to make sure that you are giving your beginning teacher feedback on those observations. Okay, let's take a look at the phases of a first-year teacher. Right now, many of your teachers are in the disillusionment stage. If you look at this graph, you will see in October, November, and December, they are in disillusionment. This is the time of year where they are starting to question themselves and why did they even get into teaching. They're going to need a lot of support from you as their mentor to move out of this stage and into rejuvenation. If you will look in the Phases tab on page 1, you will see this graph. If you turn to the next page in your Mentor Handbook, you will see more about the disillusionment phase. Go ahead and take some time to look through page 6 and the disillusionment phase and highlight some things that you want to remember as you are working with your beginning teacher. Now that you've looked through the disillusionment phase, go ahead and turn back to page 3 in your Phases tab. In the corner of this page, you will see the top 5 concerns for beginning teachers. Those concerns are classroom arrangement and management, curriculum planning and pacing, establishing a grading system that is fair, parent conferences, and personal sanity. Thinking about your beginning teacher and maybe some struggles that they're having currently, we would like you to take some time to write a quick letter of encouragement to your beginning teacher. Maybe they've struggled in all 5 of these areas, or maybe there's just one concern that they have right now. Sending an encouraging word can sometimes help them move out of the disillusionment stage and into rejuvenation. Please pause the video and take a moment to write a quick note to your beginning teacher. All right, so now you've written an encouraging letter to your beginning teacher, so we're ready to move on to your next steps. Let's look at the calendar pages to see what are some things that you can do to help support your teacher through the months of November, December, and January. I know those months have already passed now that you're watching this training, but it's great to go back and look and see, is there anything in there that you could still do through the months of February, March, and April. Go ahead and look at those months. Take time to star or highlight any areas that you think would be beneficial for your beginning teacher. And make sure that you're thinking about the phase that they're in right now and their specific needs. Go ahead and pause the video again and take the time to highlight or star your next steps. Okay, I hope that you were able to find some great information in the calendar pages to help your beginning teacher. We want to give you some time to look at other resources that are available in your Mentor Handbook. Go ahead and turn to the Troubleshooting tab. Behind the Troubleshooting tab, you will find many pages that show ideas and suggestions of things that you could do with your beginning teacher if they're having trouble in certain areas, such as organization, maybe dealing with colleagues. I want you to think back now to your calendar pages. For example, on the November calendar page, I see that I could work with them on chunking content. When I look in the Troubleshooting tab, under Curriculum, I see that it might be a good idea to model for my beginning teacher. So I can look at chunking text and modeling, get with my beginning teacher, do some planning, and then my next step could be possibly modeling a lesson for that teacher. We'd like for you to take time now to look through the Troubleshooting tab and think about your beginning teacher and their needs. We'd like for you to go ahead and pause the video again to take the time to look at your calendar pages and behind the Troubleshooting tab to see if there's any next steps that you can use to help your beginning teacher. All right, so now you've had time to look through the phases of a first-year teacher, your calendar pages, and the Troubleshooting tab. Now we're ready to move on to mentoring language with Philip.